The Shannon School of Business Small Business Development Center is pleased to present Entrepreneurs in Action, a series of short videos designed to help business owners better understand some of the issues with which they may struggle. Developed by the business professors of Cape Breton University and featuring successful entrepreneurs, these videos provide viewers with the ability to ask the right questions of themselves and others to get the answers they need in order to succeed.
Hello, my name is Dr. Jeff Young. I'm a faculty member in the Department of Business and Tourism at Mount St. Vincent University in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Here I teach courses related to organizational behavior, organizational theory, and human resource management. I've also taught a variety of these courses at other institutions, including St. Mary's University, Dalhousie University, and Cape Breton University, where I very much enjoyed my time. I was very, very pleased to be accepted as part of this program on small business and entrepreneurship. I was also extremely pleased to be asked to write the human resource management module. I believe that human resource management is changing. It has changed dramatically over the last few years. It takes on a more strategic role, a more important role, but it has a tremendous amount to offer any business owner or manager. In particular, it can help you recruit more effectively, and it can also help you select more effectively, so you get the right employee for the right job at the right time. Someone who will be motivated and committed and work hard. So I hope you enjoy the material in the module. Thank you very much. It's been my great pleasure to participate in this program.
Oceans, forests, minerals, oil fields, farmland, wind and sunshine. These are some of the examples of our important natural resource industries. For all these industries and every other form of human activity, one resource is commonplace and critical: the human resource. The people who move the wheels of industry, commerce, and government. Making sure that the people at the heart of every enterprise are properly recruited, trained, compensated, protected, and promoted is the job of HRM, Human Resources Management. The principles and practices designed for large companies are equally useful for the owners and managers of small businesses because they lead to improved business effectiveness. So, it's very important to be aware of the forces that can impact any business of any size. These include planning and forecasting labor requirements, legal and ethical issues, creating job descriptions, hiring, employee motivation, layoff, discipline, and termination. Sure, developing and implementing HRM knowledge and skills takes time and money, but it can pay off big time when employee training, for example, or government lobbying are part of your planning for growth. A good understanding of HRM could also be considered as being proactive, taking charge instead of waiting for political or market changes to arrive on your doorstep. More and more companies are dealing with a shrinking talent pool and must make themselves attractive to young and tech-savvy kids, while trying to hold on to older and more experienced employees. Owners should also consider succession planning, figuring out who's going to run the business if they sell out or step down. And 90% of small and medium-sized businesses have no formal succession plan in place. To help us appreciate the advantages of HRM as they apply to a small business, let's meet Scott Morrison of Flavor, a unique restaurant company that also specializes in catering to meetings, personal functions, and weddings. Hello, Scott. Your company relies on employees to provide customer services and also to prepare a very large and varied menu for 2 restaurants and a large catering operation. Can you let us in on some of your experiences with human resource management?
Okay, well, we're looking for a passion, the passion that that person will have for the job in which they're applying for. And we look for that passion in the confidence that they have in their answers, their creativity, their experiences, and you can just see the passion in somebody who has it. It can be in their eye, in their smile, it's just in the way that they hold themselves.
Please walk us through your hiring practices.
I guess after the resume has been, dropped off or emailed to us, we take a look at the resume. We go through and we look for certain details. We look for certain elements of experience. We look for the education. We look for various things on the resume. After we kind of sort through the resumes and we find one or two that work well, we'll call that person in for an interview. And that interview will be specifically designed for the job that they're applying for. So we'll ask the questions that we need or we would like to see answers to.
What procedures do you follow in firing someone or laying them off?
For firing somebody here, we have a process in which a person gets 3 different write-ups. So they're explained what they would be written up for, and if they, don't follow one of our procedures, then they would receive their first write-up. It's a written write-up, there'll be a discussion, and they'll sign off on that write-up. That happens 3 times. After the 3rd time, that's the last chance. Then we'd have to let that employee go, which would be a face-to-face meeting where we would talk to the employee about what happened, why they're being let go, and try to make it as pleasant as possible. It's an unpleasant situation, but laying off, as like I was saying before, it's a little bit easier because most people that are laid off know that at the end of the season or at the end of the work term that the job is finished. So we'll give them enough notice that they're going to be laid off, and we'll just lay them off.
Have you ever had a legal dispute with an employee or former or potential employee?
I guess what we would do if somebody believed that they were improperly dismissed and they were following certain procedures or protocols that they wanted to, have a further explanation to why they were let go, we would have those steps in place, and we would bring those forward, and we'd be able to say to the person questioning us, well, such and such a person did this on this date, this on this date, this on this date, and we spoke to them on several occasions, and we were left with no choice but to let the employee go.
How does your business handle human resource management?
Okay, well, I think I'll step back. I think it's more the relationship between the employees and the ownership. As I was saying, we know their families, they know our families, and we feel that we're a family together. That creates a desire to want to work, a desire to want to improve, and a desire to want to do the best for your job. And that's important, and I think that's something that the customer can see when they walk in.
What advice would you pass on to a new entrepreneur?
I think it's very important when hiring. After you break down the interview questions, you find the information you want, you've assessed the information, it's more important for you to really go with your gut instinct, because that information can be, it can be great, but if you have something that's in the back of your mind that's just kind of bothering you or it's not working out, more often than not, in my experience, that means something.
Thanks for your time, Scott. Now, let's take a closer look at the forces to reckon with that we spoke about earlier. Simply put, business planning is establishing goals and devising strategies to help achieve those goals. And a forecast is a prediction of a future event, either positive or negative, which could impact the business. In HRM planning and forecasting, as you look forward to positive growth, the objective is to have skilled people available when needed to help a business meet its sales targets and marketing goals. For instance, if $400,000 in yearly sales are generated by 2 salespeople, then a plan to increase sales to $600,000 should incorporate a forecasted need for at least 1 more salesperson. If factors like a change in the customer buying habits or a change in the strength of the dollar are forecast, then perhaps 1 less salesperson would be part of the business plan. Small businesses are often the targets of human rights complaints. Therefore, you must be sure you have read and understood the relevant provincial and federal laws which regulate the conduct of employers and employees alike. Generally speaking, about 90% of employees in Canada are governed and protected by provincial employment regulations, and the remainder work in federally regulated industries such as federal government, banks, airlines, telecommunications, and interprovincial trucking and railway companies. The regulations are published by the federal and provincial governments, and employers should make sure that they are familiar with the broad strokes of the Human Rights Acts and labor codes, which deal with such issues as employment records, vacations, employment of young people, employee discipline, and much more. Not being aware of the laws is no excuse when an employee alleges discrimination on the grounds of race, color, creed or religion, sex, marital status, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, national or ethnic origin, political affiliation. You get the picture. In most cases, an employer cannot refuse to hire, train, or promote someone because that person is a woman or is physically disabled. This would be direct discrimination. There may also be areas of indirect discrimination. For example, where an employee imposes a height requirement for employees. Since women are on average shorter than men, this would be considered discriminatory. Understanding the potential pitfalls set out in law is very important when job descriptions are created. A job description is a detailed list of tasks that people are required to perform. It is very important for recruiting purposes since it can form the basis of a help wanted ad or determine where to look for the best employee. The job description will often contain basic information about the company or the department in which the job is located, the person to whom the job holder reports, the environment in which work is done, or any safety issues that must be considered. It will also detail the job specifications, the knowledge, skills, and experience required. Being able to show that a job description and specifications were developed and how they were developed may help to respond to any legal challenges to the hiring process. Managers have many options for recruiting, including advertising, electronic job boards, posting signs in windows to encourage walk-ins, and obtaining referrals from staff members. Let's look at some of the pros and cons. When you post a job inside the company on a bulletin board or on a website, it's cheap, fast, and easy. But if you want to introduce new ways of thinking or change the existing corporate culture, it could lead to annoyed or demotivated people among the current employee group. Moving an existing employee from one job to another can also set off a chain reaction of job moves that disrupts business. What about walk-ins or resumes that arrive via the web or mail? These create a file of possible employees but tend to date quickly and have to be reviewed and updated. Print ads? Usually effective and expensive. They often draw large numbers of applicants, leading to large amounts of time for contacting and screening. Employee referrals? Quick, easy, and inexpensive, but can lead to a corporate culture where everyone begins to look and act the same. One hiring method that often produces positive results is a cooperative education program and internships. Many universities and colleges have cooperative education programs which allow students to work at real jobs for limited periods during the school year. They may also have internships usually taking place during a summer break. These programs provide much needed work experience and a chance to meet people in various situations and build up their personal networks and resumes. The employer gains enthusiastic workers who can provide the latest skills and knowledge, can sub for vacationing staff, and provide a source for future staffing needs. For more useful information, check out these sites. There are also the social media sites that are so important to marketing. For example, LinkedIn allows the HR manager to see who is working for competitors and what kind of skills and background they have. Other recruitment options include temp agencies, professional search firms, open houses, job fairs, billboards, and transit advertising. There are a range of selection tools available to weed out the best candidates for the job, and they don't include your gut instinct. They do include screening tests, very helpful if they're well designed. Get advice from folks with legal experience before engaging in any testing. Other selection tools include the good old-fashioned interview. Even here, however, there are things to be wary of. The unstructured interview usually swings wildly from candidate to candidate and is often no better than asking the candidates for their horoscopes. The structured interview, on the other hand, provides a comparative basis as candidates respond to the same group of job-related questions. Finally, make sure you get written permission from the applicants to check their references. This may eliminate a few people right away. Check only the work-related references, not the ones from family members. Ask specific questions prepared in advance regarding work-related behaviors. Use the telephone to make inquiries. People will open up to you and perhaps suggest follow-up questions. Verify all degrees, licenses, and credentials. Don't rely only on your instincts. Sounds pretty simple, but it's amazing how many employers trust their instincts and end up with a bad hire. Remember, the goal is to bring on a good performer. Once hired, HRM can play a role in motivating them towards continuing levels of high performance. So, what is this motivation thing? It's a process by which employers originate, direct, maintain, and in some cases, stop employee behavior patterns. This is done by offering two kinds of rewards, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic rewards are rewards that employees can only experience for themselves, like finishing a project and feeling good about it, developing new skills and knowledge and taking on new assignments, growing in the job. Extrinsic rewards are rewards that come from external factors, like salary level and bonuses, seniority and recognition. Bottom line, employers should know and understand their employees and provide motivation based on individual wants and needs. In the long run, employers will have to treat all employees fairly. Now, we've come to the process that most business owners are only too happy to hand over to their HRM people. Layoffs, discipline, and terminations. A layoff is a fact of life for many companies. The general expectation is that laid-off employees will be recalled when business gets better. Employee discipline refers to a penalty an employer pays for an employment offense, for example, being suspended for continued lateness. Progressive discipline refers to an employee receiving increasingly harsher penalties for repeated offenses and should involve this 5-step process. 1. Counsel and coaching. In private, indicate the offense to the employee for the first time and provide coaching on how to meet standards. 2. Verbal warning. The second time the offense occurs, a verbal reprimand is given and additional coaching provided. 3. Written reprimand. Following the third breach, a written reprimand is placed in the employee's file. 4. Short suspension. A suspension of 1 or 2 days is given and warning is issued that another breach could result in termination. 5. Discharge for cause. With the case against the employee well documented, his or her employment is terminated. It is important to follow the 5-step process carefully, since it can protect the employer against wrongful dismissal or constructive dismissal lawsuit. That's about all the information we can fit into this time and place. But don't forget to seek out more advice on how to walk the tightrope of human resources management. And if much of this presentation has seemed like a statement of common sense, let me leave you with the words of the American humorist and philosopher Will Rogers. Common sense ain't always common practice.